People love to drag George Bush Jr., me included. You know, Iraq, Katrina, mission accomplished, like all of that. And fair, but somehow his dad gets to float around in the history books like he was the only grown up in the room. When in reality, George H.W. Bush was just as bad, if not worse. He just smiled while doing it. Bush Sr. had that old school country club kind of power, the kind that hides behind diplomacy and phrases like 1,000 points of light. He wasn't a ranter, he was a bureaucratic assassin. A former CIA director, a Reagan-era vice president. A man who understood how to pull strings quietly, while Jr. bombed things loudly. Sr. built the system that made those bombings possible. Before Iraq, there was Panama in 1989. Bush sent 27,000 U.S. troops to oust Manuel Noriega, a dictator America itself had helped build. Whole neighborhoods in Panama City were destroyed. Thousands of civilians were killed. The official line was protecting democracy. The real one was protecting U.S. control of the canal. It was a trial run for the Gulf War. A quick, flashy victory that showed that America could still play global cop after Vietnam. And he pulled it off with CNN broadcasting live bombs like fireworks. Then came Operation Desert Storm in 1991. The first televised war. Slick graphics, no body bags on screen. But behind that PR miracle were tens of thousands of Iraqi civilians dead, infrastructure annihilated, and a generation of kids poisoned by depleted uranium rounds. And Bush Sr., somehow he walked away with approval ratings near 90%. He sold mass violence as moral clarity, something his son would later copy almost frame for frame. And back home he used that same cold calculus. He ran the Willie Horton ad in 1988. One of the most racist political campaigns in modern history.
Bush supports the death penalty for first-degree murderers. Dukakis not only opposes the death penalty, he allowed first-degree murderers to have weekend passes from prison. One was Willie Horton, who murdered a boy in a robbery, stabbing him 19 times. Despite a life sentence, Horton received 10 weekend passes from prison. Horton fled, kidnapped a young couple, stabbing the man, and repeatedly raped his girlfriend. Weekend prison passes. Dukakis on crime.
All to scare white voters about crime and blackness. And even though Reagan signed the 1986 Anti-Drug Abuse Act, Bush took that blueprint and expanded it. All through his 1989 National Drug Control Strategy. More funding for police militarization, harsher sentences, and deeper mandatory minimums. That same drug war that filled prisons for decades, Bush Sr. helped cement it into policy. And before all that, he was CIA director from 1976 to 1977. Right as the U.S. was cooperating with right-wing dictatorships across Latin America under Operation Condor. During his tenure, the CIA shared intelligence and provided support to regimes that ran death squads and crushed leftist movements all under the guise of fighting communism. Now, Bush didn't personally sign those kill orders, but he kept the machine running and called it stability. Everyone else called it terror. See, the reason that Bush Sr. gets a pass is because he did everything by the book. He wasn't buffoonish, he didn't stumble over his words. He made empire look respectable again. Almost like it had manners. He taught America how to smile while bombing someone else's neighborhood. So yeah, Bush Jr. may have been reckless, but Bush Sr., he was rehearsed. He built the template, clean wars, coded racism, corporate diplomacy dressed up in patriotism. We remember the son for what he did and said. But the father? We should remember him for what he normalized. That whole damn family, Lord.